Hello everybody and welcome to another toy review. In today's video I'm going to take a look at something a little bit more retro in comparison to what I've been doing recently. Today I'm taking a look at the Beast Megazord and the Beast Dragon Zord. Now, believe it or not, China occasionally bootlegs figures. I know, I was absolutely shocked to hear that as well. And back in the day, they did a bootleg of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Megazord and Dragonzord. Now, the reason I'm doing these now is because we're seeing a re-emergence of the same figures, but they have been somewhat modified and kind of rekindled to form the Celestial Warriors. Recently I reviewed this guy. This is the Celestial Warrior Megazord. I reviewed him and his KO counterpart, both pretty much identical. As you can see, it's come a long way from what we got with the original bootleg Megazord. I mean, in terms of plastic quality, this is literally made out of shampoo bottle plastic, but it's exactly the same size as the 90s Megazord. It's just lacking everything. I mean, just look at those marvelous paint applications on the face there. I mean, you can see where they were going with this. It's very similar to the Megazord with this big chest section here. The main differences were the fact that they'd replaced the Triceratops with a dragon. It's actually not all that bad, actually. It's a bit faded and it's seen better days. And they replaced the saber-tooth tiger with a tiger. And we have the mastodon has actually been replaced by a turtle. So it's somewhat different. I haven't actually got the turtle shield that came with this, the turtle head. That's actually at Fuse. He was kind enough to send these back to me when I got back to the UK, and he's going to give me the head when I see him at the next convention. I told him not to rush. He offered to send it to me at super fast, speedy mail, but I said, no, don't worry. I'm sure the fandom will understand. But yes, he's very, very thin. The detailing on him is absolutely terrible, and he's really started to show his age. I mean, in comparison to the Celestial Warrior version, much more slimline, highly detailed, got die-cast parts made of a very durable plastic, pretty much like what we're getting with some of the modern revamped versions of the Megazord. Now, recently I saw this guy on Toys, and I thought I have to pick him up. They've done the Celestial Warrior version of him, but done him in the retro Megazord style. I mean, you can see the similarities there. You can see how far it's come as well. Firstly, this is still made of a very thin plastic, nowhere near milk bottle quality, nowhere near shampoo quality like this guy was. I mean, he's dollar store at best. And this guy's more your kind of supermarket bargain bin, that sort of plastic quality. On my KO scale of 1 to MPP10, this guy's around a 4, whereas this guy's more of a 2. He's pretty good. He does bear a striking resemblance to his Celestial Warrior counterpart. You can see where they've gone from the pterodactyl style. They've really changed it up with this guy, giving it a much more futuristic, kind of dynamic look to it. Now, in essence, those head sculpts are exactly the same, except for the fact that this one actually has a face. There's paint applications and they've been applied pretty well. It's not overly sloppy really in any area, maybe a little bit sloppy here around the chest, but in comparison to this guy, this is a work of art. Weapon-wise, this one did come with a knockoff Megazord sword, which unfortunately I've mislaid over time, and of course the turtle shield. We still have the turtle head shield with this guy. It's not quite as imposing as a giant mastodon head, is it? But we also get a huge version of his Celestial Warrior's sword, which is lovely. It's a really nice, big, chunky version. The downside being that it doesn't actually go in his hand. It's a really thick handle. You can't get the bottom of it off, and there's actually no way of getting this in this handhole. It's the same size handhole as what we got with the original, and he painted up in the different, more vibrant colours, and yeah, that's not going to go in there at all. I mean, we can't even get the official Celestial Warrior sword in there as well, because it's a fixed hilt, nothing comes off, so I can't actually slide that into that hand grip. So, unfortunately, he does not have a weapon. Now, my favourite parts about the God-Beast Megazords were their huge inconsistencies in plastic quality. Whereas the God-Beast Megazord at the back is made of like a milk bottle plastic, their God-Beast Dragon Zord is nigh on the same plastic quality as the official Dragonzord. I mean, yes, he's not quite there, but he's definitely like a 5 or a 6 in terms of plastic quality. He's got some really nice chrome work done. The paint applications are clean throughout. You've got these nice lion sections on the knees there. Are they lion or are they the dragon? I believe they're lion. And you've got a really cool axe-like feature for the tail there. It's really cool sculpt. We can remove said axe section from the tail, and that can fit in both the Celestial Warrior and the God-Beast Megazord's hands. That's just, I prefer this to the Dragonzord. I wish I still had my original Dragonzord and Megazord to bring those in for a full comparison, just so you guys can see how amazing these look together. But look at the chromy goodness. It's simplified somewhat in comparison to the official Dragonzord, but it is a blatant knockoff. I mean, even to the extent that if we remove this section here, we don't get a staff or anything, but they've even kept all of this section the same, but there is no battery section inside there. It's just they've just ripped it off completely, and they haven't put any of the electrics in. So he still has exactly the same functions, so he can go over the shoulders to form the Ultra Megazord, etc. Unfortunately, I don't think we can make the Mega Dragonzord. Before we start combining these up, let's just take a look at how they all look in their separate Zord modes. And here they are, all in their individual Zords team. I forgot just how naff this guy was. Serious QC issues. Now, I've been doing some research on him, and yes, mine's made of like this milk bottle plastic, but I think back in the early 90s, China actually did a God-Beast Megazord, which is pretty much identical plastic-wise to the official Bandai America version of the Megazord. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to ever get hold of one of those. I've had 2 of these now, and they've all been this kind of milk bottle style plastic. But the original looks the part. You know, the paint applications seem to be the same, and the plastic quality does seem to be a lot thicker with better QC. I mean, this was my second version, and yes, I've left the turtle head with few, but our main Zord in this team is missing a whole leg and a foot, so he doesn't stand up at all. I love this modern kind of take on it when they've incorporated the Celestial Warriors sections. I mean, it's pretty much identical with these additional leg sections which we peg on, which, yes, it's parts forming. They've changed the tail out. With the original, he had a large ball, kind of a ball mace section for the tail. With this, we've got this spiked section. We've got the main head. It doesn't actually look up. We can't make it look forward. I think I prefer the T-Rex. I used to love the T-Rex on the Megazord. That was pretty awesome Zord. The turtle, he is awesome. He's just a big lump of a Zord there, isn't he? I would have liked a little mouth section to open, but again, nice paint applications. It's just a big chunky Zord. We have the dragon, which is a little bit lackluster. But I mean, bearing in mind we're talking at least 10 years apart, they've used that same sort of mould. They're just giving it better paint applications. I mean, it is pretty much identical, except for the weight, build quality, and overall paint applications. And the same can be said with regards to the White Tiger. The original was a bit of a floppy mess. The newer version isn't much better. I mean, you tighten the back legs by just doing up the screw, so it's not the end of the world. But I think the original version of the Beast Megazord, it had launchers on the tail of the Tiger. These don't come with a launcher, but the original definitely had those. Like the blue striping as opposed to the black as well. And again, plastic quality, it is still cheap, but they've definitely upped the game. Now, the most noticeable of changes is what used to be a pterodactyl, I believe is now the phoenix, and that is basically the pterodactyl mould there. They haven't really done an awful lot with it. Whereas this guy, he's got this nice slim torso, a much better head sculpt there, and he's got these beautiful big wings on the side as well, making him a vast improvement over his original counterpart. Right, to start getting these guys combined up, we do what we did with the original Dragonzord. Just take out the chest section there, bring this back together, fold up his little gun hands and slide those inside. Fold these sections together and tab those in. Now the legs, they fold back, they don't really go anywhere, but as you fold them back, you can bring this knee section down. I would like them to have like tabbed in or hidden away a little bit better than that, and we just have to bring these big flaps back down. Now whether you buy the God-Beast Megazords or the Celestial Beast, either of those, the legs do fit in absolutely perfectly. You've got these knee flaps which are a little bit hideous, they don't really hide away. But the trouble occurs when we try and attach the shoulders. The connection on the shoulders are wrong. We have this peg, which is what we're meant to have. You know, you're meant to have this peg and groove, but when we come round to both variations of the turtle, we have a double hole. So there is no physical way of joining these sections onto here and getting them to stay. It just won't happen. Yes, I could probably cut into them and make a tab for that, but that's most annoying because it would actually look really nice on there. I don't understand why they've done what they've done. Another problem I'm having is the face as well. The new face that sits there, it literally just flaps around. I can't get it to stay in place at all. Again, that's another slight issue that we're going to have if we want to combine them up to form his kind of Mega Dragonzord mode. But thankfully, all is not lost. By folding the wing sections back on the head of the Celestial God-Beast and folding the shoulder sections down, we should, in theory, be able to open up our Dragonzord and place him up over the top, lining up those shoulder sections and sliding that down and just bringing these down. We can bring everything together and make this guy. I actually like that. That's pretty nice. I love the fact we can still have the wings on the back there. I've just joined the torso section to that axe to make some sort of weapon thing there. He's got his shield. I just wish that we could have the sword attached on there somehow as well. Now, he's not the most well balanced of figures. He does tend to lean forward on his own accord anyway, but that being said, you know, that's a pretty nice look for him. They just need to now bootleg some form of Titanus and give us some variation of that so we can have this giant God-Beast Ultra Dragon Megazord thing riding along to save the world. Now here they are all together, and like I previously mentioned, all of this is compatible with the original version of the God-Beast Megazord, and unfortunately we can't fit this guy on the newer version, which is a shame. Now, all of these figures came from Toys. I will include a link to this guy and this guy in the description. I'll also include a link to the Dragonzord and the Megazord. Now, Toys don't very often get those figures into stock. They are pretty hard to get hold of now, but using the want list system, add them to your want list and Toys will update you as and when they become available. It's a very good system. I've used it myself a number of times, and I've actually done a video on just that want list system as well. It's a very handy, useful device that they've got incorporated into their website. If you had to pick between the two, I would definitely pick the Celestial Warrior version of the God-Beast Megazord. The slightly updated elements really do make a world of difference, and the overall look and feel of it is a much higher grade to what we got with the original. Thanks again to Toys for making this video possible. If you've liked the video, then please feel free to give it a thumbs up, share it, and of course, feel free to subscribe. Until next time, from myself and the God-Beast team, goodbye.